Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
The serum amplifies everything that is inside, so good becomes great, bad becomes worse. This is why you were chosen. Because a strong man who has known power all his life may lose respect for that power, but a weak man knows the value of strength and knows compassion.
Thanks. I think.
Whatever happens tomorrow, you must promise me one thing. That you will stay who you are. Not a perfect soldier, but a good man.
Maybe we just go back to talking about like Ireland and shit.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, though, I'm gonna say hello.
Okay.
Welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men. It's your host, Steve B, Stevie B, Stevie Poops. I don't know. That's a deep cut. It's an inside joke between me and the Serenos.
All right.
Yeah. I'm here with my guest for this week, Rory P. Say hello.
Rory Poop here. Hello. Howdy.
Yeah. I kind of feel like you just made that up on the spot.
Yeah.
I like it.
No relation.
Everybody poops. It's cool.
Oh, everybody poops.
Yeah. So me and Rory, classmates, went to school together, graduated together,
Yeah.
wrestled together.
Oh, wow.
I literally watched you break someone's eye socket on a trampoline one time.
Oh, wow.
Totally not your fault. Just
I always felt-
disclaimer, not your
Okay.
fault at all.
I think you're the first person to ever tell me that, other than myself, of course. It's like, I swear that wasn't my fault.
It really was not your fault. What was it? It was a Moose's birthday party. Yeah. We were like reenacting WWF matches.
I think I broke my nose that day too. I just never realized it.
Really?
Yeah.
You have any like problems afterwards?
Uh,
what made you think you broke it?
Every picture, like in the summer for like the next few months after that, you just saw like my nose took over my entire face.
Is it swollen or like flattened?
It was kind of both, and
Okay.
it was like a dark red.
Like a boxer's nose? Kinda?
Yeah.
Damn.
And now, like, everything in there kind of just hurts constantly,
Like
especially in the
persistent
cold.
pain.
Yeah.
I had that happen when I used to do Aikido. We were doing, it was like a half jiu-jitsu, half Aikido. It was like a blend of shit.
Mhm.
But we were grappling. And I was a young guy. I was still in high school grappling against adults. And at one point, somebody like rolled over my face. And I just felt like my nose get flattened. I was like, well, that sucked. And,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. I never got it checked out or anything. And now I always look at pictures and my nose, like, leans to one side a little bit.
Yeah, it's got that slight lean and everything. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Drives me fucking nuts.
Yeah, I've spent countless times in the mirror just seeing, like, well, maybe I could crack it back to normal. And I'm like, that sounds like a terrible idea. Don't
Yeah.
do that.
What if I'm wrong and it's actually, I crack it the wrong way and make it worse?
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, welcome to the show, Rory.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming by, man.
Huh.
I want to have, friends, people I know, cool people, laid back people.
I'm trying to be laid back.
I don't want any douchebags. Well, I mean, not that I don't want any douchebags. It's that if I have a douchebag on the show, I want to be prepared for it.
Yeah.
Like the whole concept is I want to combat against douchebaggery
Yeah.
in the male gender.
And how would you do that? Would you call them and be like, hey, you're like, you may be kind of a friend, but you're also a douchebag. Do you want to come on my show so we can kind of like debate?
I don't know. Like my wife asked me about that. She's like, what are you going to do if you have somebody on there who sees things completely different from you and completely disagrees with you on everything? Like, what are you going to do when that happens? I'm like, well, number one, I would like to think I'm a better judge of character where I'm not going to get somebody on here who's like, oh my God, you think all that? What are you doing here? I don't think it's going to be like that. But I'd like to challenge people, especially on like beliefs. If I disagree with them,
Yeah.
like you could be respectful and just challenge somebody's idea. You know?
I mean, I got a friend who, he's not completely a douchebag, but he will almost flip his views just so he can get into any type of debate.
Likes to play devil's advocate.
Exactly.
Wow. He's like a contrarian.
Yeah. Like, he'll say some awful things, and you're like, I never knew this about you. He's like, well, no, I don't believe it, but I'm just saying right now I do, so I can get some type of discussion going.
See, that's a tricky position to take as the contrarian, because a lot of times you just alienate everybody.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that are like that. Mm-hmm. They just like to debate. Excuse me for burping in the mic. We're drinking beer right now, so it's going to happen. Get used to it.
Yes.
Get over it. But no, there's a lot of guys like that. I think it's really common nowadays. You know, especially there's like the PC culture. There's so many people that just hate it so much they just want to do anything to go against it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess I understand the instinct. Like, don't tell me what to say. You want to be defiant. Like, I get that part of it. But if you find yourself like being, you know, playing devil's advocate and just taking the other side just so that you're not agreeing with everything everyone says, you just alienate people. People are like, well, are you just a douchebag? Like, why do you want to do that? If you don't believe it, why are you arguing it?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, on the good note, like, my one friend, he will kind of actually, you know, explain to whoever he's annoying the hell out of, like, what he's specifically doing. Like, he'll tell you, he's like, no, this is not something I believe, but I want to get a real reaction out of you. I want a real answer. I don't want you to just kind of like give me a yeah, and so we could just move on. Like, I want to hear a full explanation. I want to know what you're thinking. Yeah. I was like, I just want to see how your mind works.
If you believe this, let's see why. Do you actually know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I get that, because I do that with people that I know kind of agree with me on certain topics. I push them on it just to see, like, do you really know why you feel that way? Or are you just kind of trying to, you know, lump on to what everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like that. That's why I don't like the people trying to shut down someone else just because they disagree with them. Like, oh, just shut up, you're an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, like, if you can't have the argument with somebody, then do you really have a point?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how strong is your argument if
Yeah.
you're not willing to put it up against anything? It's like a boxer who won't fight anybody. Like, you're not the champ. You gotta defend the title, man. Otherwise, what are you? What are you doing?
I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
Just wearing some gear.
I don't know. I like the way the gloves feel.
Yeah. They're soft.
We were boxing today. I posted a video.
I saw the video.
Yeah, I told him he has to do at least a half hour straight, which is very challenging when there's so much Netflix.
Yeah, that sounds challenging.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. This, you know, I've taught him basics over the, like, since I've been his stepdad. I've taught him the basic stuff, but I want to really drill it. I want him to get the muscle memory, because he's not a big kid. So I want him to at least feel confident that he could handle himself if anybody was to push him around.
Yeah. That's something awesome to have. I mean, I personally never really had that, so like I'm totally for it. Yeah.
Well, you're lucky you're tall. I mean, I don't think people would have messed with you the way they would have messed with me.
I don't know. I feel like I had like a tall lankiness where it's just like, yeah, he's got to reach, but there's nothing he can do with it.
For some reason, everybody always knows, like, watch out for the lanky ones.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that'll fuck you up.
This is news to me. I mean, this is old news.
That's said out there. I'm not making this up. But anyway, like, yeah, I want him to be able to defend himself. And that was something that I was kind of getting into with him, where it's, you know, you can be aggressive. Like, we were boxing. You can get a little mad, like, you know, put some oomph in there, whoop some ass a little bit. But at the same time, you need to know how to control that, how to turn it off.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, then you're just a loose cannon.
Yeah.
And it's great because me being like a nerd and a dork and knowing about like stuff that he likes, like comics and cartoon characters, I have all these great examples. Like, if you think, like, what would Captain America do? Would Captain America just keep beating up on somebody even though he's already won? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not the one looking for the fight. Like, I have a perfect example.
Yeah, that's...
And he knows what I'm talking about, so it's an easy comparison. And that's it's like that whole idea. All right, toxic masculinity is a term that people like to use nowadays. And I hear in the realm that this podcast exists, it's a male-oriented thing. A lot of guys, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. You know, I think what they're talking about in most of these cases is that the term itself doesn't really make sense. It's not the most appropriate term, because it's not that masculinity itself is the problem. It's people that are exhibiting bad behavior. And the bad behavior isn't necessarily a masculine thing, because it could be women could do some of the same things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like they're saying like that's not fair to single out masculinity. Like even though it's men that we all agree are the primary perpetrators of this bullshit, and the fuckery, it's it's not something that's exclusive to men. So to pinpoint toxic masculinity is a problem, like just with the terminology, when really you should be saying maybe it's like asshole behavior, predatory behavior, stuff like that. Yeah. Which is like we said, is not something that's exclusive to males. But I don't know. What do you think about it?
I've always felt toxic masculinity was around like since I was young. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I was young, I even wanted to mainly hang out with girls, just because I always felt hanging out with guys, even like own age, everything like that, I always felt like there was almost like a certain like identity you had to have just hanging out with them. Mm-hmm. You had to act a certain way, you had to be a certain way, you had to do things, like everything was kind of just like there was a set of rules to go with it. And I usually felt like with girls it was just like, no, who gives a shit, like we're hanging out. And I mean, we would do all the same things too. I played like Manhunt, hide and seek, like all those games being a kid. I think we played King of the Mountain one time, like on a pile of like recycled leaves, got hurt quite a lot. And it seems like it was the same thing. It was just, I didn't have that like awkward feeling of like, you had to be a certain way. So
sounds like you had like an exceptionally cool group of girls to hang out with.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. They could be intense sometimes, and even they had their own things. Mm-hmm. It was almost like it could sometimes be like almost like, I don't know, a toxic femininity with it, because they had their own. I think they would have their own rules, but I also think that was just because I was the guy in the group, mm-hmm. and things would kind of get switched around on me at times. And that's when I would just be like, you know what, fine, I'm out, I'm done. Like,
what do you mean, like switched around? Because I mean, like we all know like that trope of like the group of boys, and then there's the one girl that hangs out with them that's like a tomboy. Yeah. But like, I don't know if it really applies when you're like the only guy in a group of girls. Like it's not. I don't think it applies in the same way.
Not really. It would be at times. Sometimes I would kind of feel like almost like a servant. In a way, like they would be like, all right, well, we're gonna, like, for example, because of course I lived at Sunset Lake, they would be like, all right, we're going to like go rafting or go canoeing, and it was mainly my job was like either blowing up the raft or bringing the canoe. I'd be like, all right, let's go. They're like, no, like you did your part, like we're gonna go, like bye. And I was like, what?
So
you were like, to be kidding me.
You were like the Hodor of the group.
Yeah. And I would just be like, okay, this is cool. I'm not. I'm fine. I'm fine.
That's a tricky situation.
Yeah.
If it's like other boys, you could just kind of be like, yo, fuck you, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not doing all the work just so you assholes can enjoy everything else, and I have to stay in here. Come up my ass.
And in my head, I'd be like, well, I can't yell at them, because if I do, then it's somehow going to roll back onto me.
Yeah. Then you're a bad guy.
And then I'm the bad guy, and I was just like, oh crap. And it was like, all right, I'm just gonna go home and kind of do my own thing. So
you touched on something that I think is really interesting that kind of goes right back to what we were saying. You said maybe it's like a toxic femininity, mm-hmm. when that behavior isn't feminine or masculine. It's just shitty behavior.
It's just shitty behavior. Yeah,
that's where I think people get upset with the terminologies. Like
mm-hmm.
it's putting a bad idea of something. It's like I don't know what the term I'm looking for is, but you know what I mean. Like it's pointing one way when it's really no. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, bro.
Just shitty behavior.
It's bad behavior. You don't have to blame all masculinity for people being assholes.
Mm-hmm.
You can be an asshole regardless of whether you're a guy or a girl.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really important, because in my life, when I think of masculinity, like manliness and all that stuff, it doesn't involve anything that could be associated with the term toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like real manliness, like a real man, in I think most people's eyes, especially like in our generation, is the brave guy. He stands up for his morals and convictions. Mm-hmm. He's strong but not a bully.
Yeah.
Like, he hates bullies. The
Yeah.
hero always hates the bully. Like, those are the guys that I looked up to. I think most other guys do.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess it's easier to look up to that idea than to really embody it, to live it.
Yeah, once you realize the work that goes into it.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of people just going like, you know what? No, I like the power, but I got to be responsible now. Like, I gotta look out for people. Like,
It doesn't happen that often.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, it's not easy.
No.
Especially when you look around and you see other people. Like, if, there's like the norm, like the societal norm of behavior. You see other people like, no, fuck that. I'm not doing that. They do whatever they want. And they get ahead.
Yeah.
That really, it tests you.
Yeah.
He said, well, shit, if nobody else is following the rules, why should I?
Exactly. And, well, I mean, exactly. As in, I see I've heard other people more or less say that, if they're not doing it, then I'm not going to do it. It'll be like, and it's like, no, like, take the higher road. Trust me. You'll feel great.
Yeah.
Just please, like, be one good person out of, like, the hundreds of terrible people. And maybe you can actually, change someone else's mind and just let it multiply.
Yeah, be the person that, a mother tells her son, like, look at that guy. He's doing the right thing. Be like him. Like, you want to be that role model.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, you have all these good examples of it, of, a positive masculine figure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand why you have to associate just being a piece of shit with being a man.
Yeah.
I guess the problem is that there are so many men that are pieces of shit.
Yeah, and what you said about, like, the societal norms and everything, I think that's mainly where I guess the whole toxic thing comes from, is just because you see so many other people, I guess, acting that way, that it kind of gets into your head, like, well, that's how it's supposed to be. Because, I mean, I grew up with a few, like, friends and family that they kind of did that for me, where it's like they were trying to guide me. But it's like, as they were telling me certain things in my head, I would just be like, but that doesn't sound good. Like, I know you're telling me that this is the right thing to do, but it doesn't
sound right.
It doesn't sound like the right thing to do. I mean, I remember a relative of mine taught me how to catcall. And I was just, and he was like, yeah, like, you shout this, and it's like they respond, and it's awesome. And I'm like, I feel like that wouldn't work.
I don't think there's anything in the...
Yeah, and I'm like, and I feel like it's a terrible thing to do. Like, they're just out for a walk. I'm not going to just shout at them, and I don't expect them to give me a good response, because I feel like other way around, I would just be like, well, fuck off. Thank you.
Good rule of thumb, don't say anything to a woman on the street that you wouldn't want another man to say to you in prison.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, that is a good way to look at it, yeah.
Because that's one of the only... I think that's one of the only situations where a man could feel like, like he might be in danger of some kind of sexual assault.
Yeah.
That's the only time a guy is going to have the same feeling as a woman. Because, I mean, that's true. Like, a woman, if you think about it, a woman has to worry about that on a regular basis. Whereas a guy, you walk around in a bad neighborhood in the middle of the night, you might worry about getting beat up, but you're not worried about getting raped.
You're not like...
That's just something, that's like, that's the, the term privilege. That's a privilege that we don't have to worry about getting raped on a daily basis. Like, it never even enters my mind.
Yeah. And I've thought about that because, I mean, Lauren, my girlfriend, she's kind of said things about that where it's just like, there are certain things that she kind of has to think about, she has to worry about that I don't have to. And which is funny because there's times, like, usually when I'm drunk, I could be out with her, I could be out with other people, but she's usually there when this happens. I could see, like, a girl wearing nice shoes, a nice outfit, she has nice hair. Yeah, I love all this shit. I go to her and I'm just like, is it gonna be awkward if I go over there and tell her shoes are nice because they just look really nice? She looks really good. I just want her to know she looks good. I'm not trying to hit on you.
It's a great drunk voice.
Yeah, thank you. And she's just like, no, of course, just go up there and just be like, hello, I just want to, like, let you know that you look very nice, blah blah blah. And she kind of gives me a little direction because I'm always like, well, I don't want to give off the wrong impression. I don't want her to think that I'm going up to her just going like, hey, you me because of, like, those shoes. Yes. Like,
that's something I've actually done that too. Like, when you go up to a girl just to give her a genuine compliment without you're literally not trying to hit on her, like, hey, just want to let you know, I hope you don't take this the wrong way. Your outfit looks fantastic. You look good for you. You look great tonight. I hope you have a good time. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Maybe.
I think when I first started doing that, I felt weird just because, again, I thought about them, about being in their shoes and just going like, all right, guys coming up to you, like I know they're only giving me a compliment, but well, like what else is with that? What's the ulterior motive here?
What are you getting at, man?
Yeah. So I think the best way is to always end it like, okay, like have a good night, I'm gone. So it's like they know, like
they don't hang around.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what really ruins it.
Yeah.
Like, you're still here,
and then you're standing there, with your beer. You're like, yeah, so you look great, right?
Yeah. You live around here often?
Yeah.
You walk in your car by yourself later? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll just be over here watching you all night. Yeah, that's a weird thing, but I've experienced that too. Like, I think it happens, especially too when you had a few drinks, when you're a little drunk. You get in that like, I'm a happy, like when I get drunk, I like to love everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not like in the, in like a Cosby way. Like, but
no.
Like to show love and spread happiness. Like,
yeah,
that's what I want to be.
You want to have a good time. You hope everyone else is having a good time. So
you want people to leave from interacting with you happier than when they came.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Yeah,
I want people to say, "Hey, there's Steve. Hey, man, I'm gonna let you know you're doing a great fucking job, man. I see what you're doing every day. I seen your work truck out there. That shit looks good."
Yeah.
Like, oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. A little something like that.
Yeah,
it can make somebody's day. You never know.
Exactly.
They might not care, but they might.
Yeah. And it could totally change their day around too. They could be having a horrible day, and then they hear something like that, and it actually like lifts your spirits, and you're like, all right, you know what? No, I am gonna get through today. See,
that's something else too, like spreading positivity, like spreading cheers. Some people look at you like, oh, what does this fucking hippie want? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they kind of they like the same thing. Like, what's your ulterior motive? Like, what do you really want? Like, we're so like cynical that we can't even accept that someone might just be genuinely nice.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that I don't like. You see a lot of women are much better about that than guys are, I think. I think that as guys, that's something we should shoot for, because that can make a world of difference. If you were to just like improve 3 people's day, it's like the pay it forward like scenario. If you were to improve 3 people's day and they each were to improve 3 people's day just by saying something that took no effort, no energy, didn't cost anything, like why? I feel like shouldn't that make the world a better place?
Yeah.
Just in itself, like that little act.
Yeah, just that one little thing, and it just spreads. So
I mean, I don't think you're gonna stop any wars like that, but if it could just make people happier and nicer to be around, like why not?
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there.
No.
That's what happens when you drink. You just want to spread positivity.
Yeah, you want to end wars by just saying like, "Hey man, nice haircut." It's like, "Oh my god, he's
really?
totally
You
right."
like it?
Yes.
Just buy it from my friend. My cousin Fatula, he buy for me. He's good. I like. You know what? I think you're a good man. I go home. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wrap it up, boys.
Yeah. Okay, wrap it up. Bye. I don't know. I hope that's not racist, what I just did.
Oh no, it was awful. We are terrible people.
What are you gonna do? It's good intentions.
Yeah, good intentions.
They can make fun of my accent.
Yeah,
but that's such a weird thing, is accents. Do you think that what do you think? All right, let me phrase this the right way. What do you think is one of the biggest issues that make? Since we said that men are usually the ones that are exhibiting the shitty behavior, which in this particular scenario, they're exhibiting shitty behavior because women exhibit their own types of shitty behavior too, but we're just talking about us.
Yeah.
Talking about the guys right now. Like, what do you think is one of the biggest things that causes it? Like, let me start off with mine. Just for me, I think that it's our egos that get in the way of everything. I'm a dude. I have an ego. I'm guilty. Like, I have it. It's hard for us to keep it in check sometimes, and it's a lot more fragile than I think we like to admit.
Oh, it absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to admit it. I mean, I don't want to admit it. And I mean, it's easy for me to say it now because nobody's attacking my ego. But once it happens, it's tough. It's like a tough pill to swallow.
Absolutely. Do you think that's a male specific thing? Because that's always like, oh, the male ego is so fragile. But I feel like maybe it's a human thing. I mean, I know that men, I don't know, maybe it's just my experience, but I feel like what I've seen is that we're usually the worst offenders of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely seen women do it. Don't get me wrong. Like, it happens on both sides.
Yeah.
But I feel like more often than not, it's us. Do you think that's right, or do you think it's just a stereotype that's not really fair?
No, I think it's fair. But I kind of think that it's just a whole spectrum. I mean, it's usually kind of whoever the guy is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of, I'm more on the emotional side, so I can hold on to things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, my ego could be a little fragile. I usually don't like to talk about it, but I mean, I'll hold on to it like a deep grudge or something for quite a while, but then it finally goes away.
But I feel like it's another thing, like the toxic masculinity. It's the word, it's the terminology.
Mm-hmm.
Because for men, we have fragile egos, but for women, they're just emotional. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't it feel like it's kind of the same thing, just a different way of describing it?
Yeah.
Like, I've been trying to pick this apart, like, just over the years, and I work a lot of times by myself, and I just think all day.
Yeah.
So I just think about random abstract thoughts. And this is something that's come up. It's like, is it really that males have fragile egos? Or is it that just we're humans and humans all are emotional?
Yeah.
Like, we all do that in some way or another. We just call it something different when it's a woman. Like, isn't that weird?
I mean, oh, fuck. Because it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it makes total sense. I'm trying to figure it out now.
Yeah, I'm kind of just like putting this together on the fly too. It's like I've thought about it, and it's just like, yeah, why is it different for us? Like, are we really that much worse, or do we just call it something different?
I think it could also be because we feel like, probably most men feel like, oh, they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's also kind of just the typical thing to like kind of just say about a woman whenever they get emotional. It's like, oh, well, that's what they do. They're emotional. Like that, like, oh, she's being emotional. That's just the woman's thing. Like let her have her moment, and then we can move on. Where for a guy, it's supposed to just be like, no, like this isn't supposed to happen. It's your male ego going wackadoodle or shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just lost myself, so I apologize.
It's a weird one. It's a twisty one. You get mixed up in this one. I think that the big difference is the pride aspect. I think maybe men have a little bit more pride. Mm-hmm. Like, I think as a man or a woman, I think your ego is just as delicate in either way, but I think men are a bit more proud. So it's kind of like, think of the old trope of like a couple driving and they don't want to stop. The man doesn't want to stop to ask directions. Like, I don't need to stop for directions. And the woman has no shame in doing that. You know what I mean? I think that's just like the pride. Like, I want to be self-sufficient. I want to do my thing. I'm a man. I'm strong. I'm this stoic figure. But maybe that's the difference.
Possibly, because I'm thinking about like I guess my personal situation, like when I'm driving and something like that happens. I mean, if it's like, I mean, my first time coming here tonight. I mean, if Lauren was just like, no, like stop and ask for directions. If I didn't have GPS phone and everything like that, then I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm gonna stop. Like, you're totally right. I'm stopping asking for directions. But if I've been here numerous times and I'm getting myself lost, that's where the pride would come in. Be like, nope, I know exactly what I'm doing. Like, don't have to stop. I already know it's down the street. And then, after 2 hours of driving in a circle, it's like, all right, I guess we could go. Can you go out and talk to somebody, please?
Yeah. Well, it's because, Colin Quinn, the comedian?
Yeah.
He did a bit about, especially like with New York people, like if you have to stop and ask for directions, you basically just get abused by whoever, like the guys you ask. Yeah. Like, what are you looking for? I'm trying to get to the Van Wyck. The Van Wyck. Step back. This guy is looking for the Van Wyck. They gotta abuse you, like talk. Like, kids in the back. You guys all right with this guy driving? You know what I mean? They're gonna make you look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Why do we do that? It's so funny, until it's you. I'm guilty of that too. Like,
oh, absolutely. But on the good note, I mean, hopefully this isn't just for me. I mean, when it's happening, it's just an awful experience. You're embarrassed and everything. But then, a year later, you're thinking about it and just laughing your ass off. So,
yeah. Thank God for GPS, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like in my entire life, anytime I've had to drive somewhere and ask for directions, like stopping to ask for directions, I've never gotten good ones. It's never gotten me where I needed to go.
Yeah.
You know? Like they tell you some like ass backwards instructions and like, okay, I didn't get any of that. All I know is there's a couple lefts involved. I don't know when or where, but we're turning left at some point, and then we follow our nose.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
We're looking for a yellow rock.
Yeah.
That's all we need to find, and I think we turn left there. Yeah.
The Greeks do that. They don't tell you turn at this street and then go up and turn left at that street. They tell you, when you see the red roof inn, you hit the jug handle, and then you go up, and when you see the big sycamore tree, that's where it is. Like, do you guys don't know street names? They don't have street names in Greece.
I have to say I give directions like that.
You're a landmark guy.
Yeah, I mean there's been times where it freaks me out. Like I would be running at night and someone's driving and they're slowing down. They're driving next to me, and that's when I'm just like, oh God, what's about to happen? And they stop. They're asking for directions, and I never remember street names. And that's when I'm like, okay, so 3 lights, not 2 lights, not 1 light, not 4 lights, 3 lights. You're gonna once you hit that, that's where you turn left. You know you're at the right one when you see the Exxon station. Turn left there, go down, and they're like, and I'm like, please tell me you have this.
Those are good directions.
Yeah.
3 lights. Mm-hmm. It's not like turn left when you see the old woman in the green jacket. You know what I mean? Like you
she's
give them
always
concrete.
there.
Yeah. What if she's not there? Oh, trust me, she'll be.
Oh,
there.
she's gonna be there. What time is it? 8:58. Yeah. Okay, she's gonna be there. Yeah.
That's the other part of the Colin Quinn thing. He's like, when you get down to the building with the Puerto Ricans, you make a right. Well, how do you know? Like, what if they're not there? Trust me, they're there. Yeah. But yeah, I hate directions. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Got a little sidetracked, but that's okay. What do you like? I know as we're young, like the stuff we see on TV, our parents, or like our family, friends. Those are like the people that we learn from. That's how we learn as to what it really is to be a man, or what our idea of it is. Do you think that there's like a certain kind of like a trap that we fall into sometimes, like that can lead us down that road to like shitty behavior, like being an asshole? Because I think that somebody's here.
Yeah.
That's all right. They're probably just coming to murder us. There's no problem.
No worries. I can't see them. I'm not going to see it happen.
The squeakier the door, the more likely you are that it's a dangerous situation.
That was fairly squeaky.
Yeah,
we're going
squeaky.
down.
We don't have WD-40 in this house. No, I say I think one of the big traps that guys fall into. I don't know if women fall into this trap too, but we get a lot of our advice on life from our friends and our peers.
Oh yeah,
who are just learning, just like us, and like they don't know what the fuck they're talking about either.
Yeah,
like so.
I mean, I'm definitely not gonna name drop any of my old friends from back in the day, but I remember getting some advice and really just being like, awesome, thank you. And as I'm walking away, I'm like, I'm never gonna like fucking listen to them or ask them for anything ever again, because that was awful.
Yeah. I would always just tell people, like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
There's no way that that's possibly true.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like some of the stuff I just didn't know enough about to even challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, really? Like that's really how it happens? Oh yeah, no, that's really a thing. Man. And you just go home and like question it. It's like 10 years later, like, man, fucking Eddie was full of shit. There's no way that happens.
Yeah.
Do you think like that? For me, that's always the biggest thing. Is we get advice from other dumb boys that know just as much as we do. Yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty sure that when I was young, of course, I never want to ask my dad about anything.
Me neither.
I only talked to my mom about a few things. She was mostly someone that I just like kind of looked on to an example. Like everything she did, I would just be like, all right, that's how you treat a person. Okay, that's how you do that. Like, I was like, all right. Being young, I was like terrified of my dad, so I was like, I'm never asking him anything.
You too?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was too.
I mean, he's awesome. Love you, Dad. But yeah, when I was younger, because I was so small and he was just monstrous, it was like I can't ask him anything, because if I ask the wrong way, I just feel like he would just like throw me out the window.
Feel like he'll just step on you.
Exactly. So yeah, asking friends, and I'd ask them, and yeah, I felt like I always got answers where I would just be like, no, that can't be right. Like, I mean, I don't know, because I've never experienced this. I mean, it sounds like you have, but like, that just sounds terrible.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Really? That's what people have been doing for millions of years? I wish I could think of like better examples, but some of them are just so gross.
Yeah.
Like, reading like Playboy magazines as a kid, like, no, dude, that's really what women do. Are you sure? Are you sure they're not just doing this for the magazine? Like, I don't think so, man. We're dumb kids.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to pause for a second. I need to refill. Okay, we're back. I am refilled. Cheers.
Cheers.
Anyway, thanks again for coming, man. I really do appreciate it.
And again, thank you for inviting me. I wanted to do this kind of for a while. I mean, you knew that, so.
Well, I'm very glad. I'm glad that you've been listening. I'm glad somebody's been listening.
I mean, even before it started, I remember seeing like your first like kind of post about it, kind of just being like, "Oh yeah, I got this crazy idea." I'm like, "Oh my god, that sounds like that's a great idea."
Excuse me, everyone. I wanted to let you know I did a thing.
Hi.
It's so not manly. Nah, you know what it is? I see so much fucked up stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I work in construction, so I work with a lot of guys who, they're blue collar guys, good dudes, have families and stuff. But I don't know. I just see. I don't want to blame my coworkers because that's not fair. That's not right. I just see a lot of assholes in general out in the world, because actually a lot of them have nothing to do with, they don't have white collars.
Mm-hmm.
So I just see a lot of asshole guys.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have a kid? Like, what the fuck are you teaching that kid?
Right?
I
mean, when was it? It was like 2-3 summers ago. It was the last time I went down to Point Pleasant. I went with Lauren, her dad, to spend the day there, having a nice day. But we had like 3 families behind us, and like they're all there together. But the dads were just like the worst people ever. And where Lauren and I are looking at each other like, the fuck are they teaching their kids? Like, do you hear that? Like, talking about like, like Cleveland Steamers, like all that shit, and we're just like, you've got to be kidding me.
Like, you're his dad. He's not supposed to learn that from his stupid friends in high school, not from you.
Exactly. Yeah. And there was, and then like, like some like in front of us, there was some girl there with her boyfriend, like probably high schoolers, college kids, I don't know, but she's like massaging his shoulders and everything, and the dads are just like, "Hey, after him, can you do me next?" And they were just going
like creepy.
Like, yeah, it was really disgusting and creepy, and that's kind of when I was like, we could stay here, but I'm just gonna go on the boardwalk. Like, I'm done with this. I'm not dealing with this. This is awkward as hell.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Especially the creepiness.
Yeah.
That's a big one. I think a lot of guys either don't realize or don't even care if they come off as creepy. A lot of people just, like, especially, I mean, I guess for a dad, like, you're an older married guy, you don't care because you have your wife.
Yeah.
And if she's with you, then it's like, yeah, whatever. I'm not trying to impress anybody.
Yeah.
Which still sucks, but I understand the thinking of it, the thinking behind it. But for single guys, like, if you're coming off creepy and you have no idea or you don't care, it's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I understand, like, there's the theory of playing the numbers, but like, you're really hurting your chances here. Like, this is not the way to go about it.
Yeah. And also, your friend should be the ones going like, "Hey, buddy, like shut the fuck up. Like, you don't want to say that. That's messed up."
Yeah. But it's like the pride thing.
Yeah.
Because some guys, they can't handle. It's like it's where you're trying to give them constructive criticism. Some guys are like, "Yo, fuck you, bro. Like, I don't need you to tell me how to pick up a girl."
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, well, you need somebody to help teach you because you're doing a piss poor job."
Yeah.
But I wanted to call out us as men for being dicks, but also create a place where we could talk about shit and we could better ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't need a bunch of angry women to be telling me how to be a man. It's like, well, how would you know? Like, we need to work on this. We need to figure this out as men.
Yeah.
Like, that's our responsibility.
It's our responsibility, our problem. I mean, like, we can't help out women because we're not women, but we can help ourselves and generally make things better. So, like, yeah.
Yeah, we could call out the bad behavior, and we can also defend men when they're being wrongfully, or not wrongfully accused. Well, yeah, wrongfully accused, obviously, but also like unfairly, maligned.
Yeah.
Say, oh, men do this, this, and this. Yeah, well, that's not fair. We want to be, defenders of real masculinity.
Yeah.
All right. You could, and it's like there's so many levels to it. It's like a spectrum, masculinity. Like too many people are too rigid in their thinking about it. Like, oh, you have to be John Wayne, and you have to be this stoic, tough guy, and have no feelings. And anytime you feel anything, you just suppress it, and then 50 years later, you die.
Yeah.
So like that, you can feel shit as a guy. It's fine.
Yeah.
But there is a difference between having feelings and being able to experience things and not have to, hide your emotions. But at the same time, you don't want to fall apart every time somebody pushes you on the playground.
Yeah.
So there's a balance there.
I feel like it shouldn't be that, I guess, much of a, tightrope walk. Yeah, I feel like it should just be something simple. I mean, it really should just be something you just do.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it really shouldn't be something that you have to think about and just be like, all right, like, today I'm not going to do this god-awful thing to, like, women or just anybody in general because I have that. I have the privilege to do it. Just
unfortunately.
I know.
Yeah.
It's way easier said than done.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like that. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like, there's generations of men out there who just kind of were normalized in eras where there's stuff that we consider bad behavior, where that was just normal.
Yeah.
So it's hard for them to kind of completely change who they are as people and as men.
Yeah.
So what I figure, the way I see it is, our job is to, help bring up a new generation where we kind of correct some of those things. Also there's a lot of guys who, like, there's guys raised without fathers. You see this, in like low income areas.
Yeah.
Dad didn't stick around, whatever. You're raised by your mom. And those guys are actually more inclined to have that bad behavior, to be more aggressive and to fall into even crime.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually the lack of masculinity in a lot of cases can cause a lot of the problems. Guys raised almost entirely by women, they're never taught how to be a real man. And, a single mom I give a single mom all the credit in the world. But there's just some things that, only a dad can do.
Yeah. I mean, and like the same way, other way around and everything.
Absolutely.
So you always need, you're going to need that type of figure to help guide you. I mean, like, single mom, give them a shit ton of credit, but I mean, you're going to need that one person to guide you. Like, boy's gonna need a man, daughter's gonna need like mom or any female role model.
I think that the father is important to both the daughter and the son.
Yeah,
like both. I mean, especially like for a young girl. I know I've talked about this before. That your dad is your basis for society. That's how you build every other relationship you have in your entire life.
Yeah, based
off who your father is, and you could see that if you just look at people you'll see it time and time again. Out. Like, that's a real thing. So, and we want to teach these young boys the right way to do this. Like, if you have, you get a girl pregnant, you don't just run away. Like, you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
Whether or not you wanted to keep the kid, tough shit. Like, could have pulled out, could have wrapped it up. It's a game you played, man.
Yeah.
You gambled and you lost.
Yeah, you played risk and didn't go well.
That's the way the world works. You got to do it. Even if it sucks, well, it will suck, especially if you didn't want the kid. But
this is what it is what it is. So, like,
odds are you weren't raped. So I'm just going by the numbers here, people. I think that's. I want to just be a positive force. I know. Here's something, like, I've been noticing this with our Instagram page for the show.
Okay.
like if I can look at a lot of different like masculinity pages and all like that. These are the guy stuff and manhood and masculinity and all this other shit. And I feel like some of it starts to get into like an alt-right space. I'm like, ugh. Like now I feel like, all right, I don't want any part of that. Like,
yeah, no.
This is supposed to be completely apart from any kind of politics. Like, it shouldn't matter what your politics are. Like, just be a good person. You know what I mean? Like, then I don't want to not attract the wrong types of people, because maybe I do want to attract those guys and maybe say, hey, you don't have to be a dick. Look at this. Like, it doesn't matter who you voted for. You can still be a good person.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm starting to be hesitant. I don't want to. I'm careful, like the hashtags I put on. And, Jesus Christ,
But at least you're doing something. I mean, I just like work and hang out at home, and that's kind of it. That's my thing. And I go running, and there you go. And like, this is something awesome that you're doing. It's gonna come with these very awkward risks of alt-right masculinity shit.
It's tricky. It's a bit of a tightrope.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I don't think I've had anybody accuse me of being like some kind of chauvinist or anything yet. But I'm trying to be a good dude. You know, trying to help put the spotlight on other good dudes.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're not all assholes here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of us are actually pretty good guys. But that's that's the problem with everything. If, a few bad apples spoil the bunch.
Yeah, and I totally understand. Well, not totally, but I do understand, I guess, the women's perspective, especially when guys are like, "Well, it's not all of us. Like, some of us are pretty good." Like, there's still that, like, yeah, okay, like you can.
That's exactly what an asshole would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, I've got my eye on you.
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing I think as guys maybe we need to be a little better at. It's just having a little empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if somebody's saying, like, oh, well, men do this, men do that, if your first reaction is to automatically,
get defensive, yeah.
Like, at least hear what they're saying before you start being defensive. Like, there's a point where maybe people stop listening. Like, just listen. Listen to what they're saying first before you even say what you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least get all the information. Like, get all the information and make a cohesive thought and have your thoughts together. Otherwise, it's like the whole straw man thing. You're not really arguing the point. You're arguing the bullshit off to the side.
Yeah.
So.
And you don't even get the full story once you start, cutting them off and getting on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really getting everything. That's why sometimes you really need to, and I sometimes need to do this too. You need to stop. You need to listen. You need to absorb everything. And it's like, okay, soak it in and learn from it. That's what you got to do.
It's hard, man. It's hard to be empathetic, especially in like an argument or a debate.
No.
It's hard to really put yourself in another person's shoes.
Yeah.
Especially when it's something that's completely foreign to you, to your life experience. Like, as a guy, trying to put yourself in a woman's shoes is not easy. It's tough to walk in high heels.
It does take some practice, yes.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's hard. Like, I was talking to my wife about this today. My wife is from Cuba.
Mm-hmm. She
came here, about 16, 17 years ago. And obviously they came here legally. But it's like, people talk about immigration, and it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who comes from literally having to wonder where their next meal is coming from.
Yeah.
How are they gonna, even if they had some money, how are they gonna get food with it? Because there might not be any food on the shelves at the store.
Yeah.
Like you see what's happened in Venezuela. Even if you had money, like, it's not worth anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you, like, especially as us as Americans, put yourself in their shoes, see from their perspective, because it's not something we've ever had to deal with, most of us.
Yeah.
So I think just as people, we need to do that. We don't have to be the stereotypical bleeding hearts, like, these poor people. Like, just stop and think. Like, what must it be like to be that person? Think about, walk a mile in their shoes. That's it. That doesn't make you less of a man to do that. Like, that, if you think that, then that's fucking stupid. And you should, get that out of your head.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. Like, real men care about other people.
Exactly. And yeah, that it's kind of going back, with the whole social norms of masculinity or femininity. I think, like, most of the time, just being like a real man or being a real woman is just being a good and honest person. And like that's all it is.
Absolutely.
And that's why a lot of times it really shouldn't even be like, well, what does it take to be a good man? It should just be, what does it take to be a good person?
Yeah.
And like, once you got that, like, you're pretty solid. It's like, all right, no, you got it. Like,
Be a good person. Everything else generally falls into place after
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I think, and that could, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I'll probably start thinking about it now, but,
You'd be thinking about like 10 things on the drive home. Like,
oh,
shit, I should've said that.
absolutely. Yeah. I already know that.
It's like go to see a comedian. You're driving home. Like, I can't remember one fucking joke.
Or you try to be the heckler at the place and you're like, oh, you know what? No, I should have done that. Or I shouldn't have done anything at all.
I will never be a heckler.
Yeah, no.
I love stand up too much. I'll never be a heckler. I just got tickets to go to see Jim Norton next month.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Not with him.
No, not with him. No.
Any comedian worth their ass, you don't want to be a heckler.
Yeah, absolutely not. I've personally watched videos of stand-up comedians getting heckled and how they just burned them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's beautiful.
Did you ever listen to Patton Oswalt? He has one of the most epic comebacks to a heckler. It wasn't even a heckler. It was just somebody making noise, going like "woo!" He was doing a quiet part of a joke. All you hear is some guy going "woo!" in the back. I was like, okay. And he just went on this whole tirade against this guy. It was really funny. If you listen to Werewolves and Lollipops by Patton Oswalt, it's really good.
I will check that out.
But anyway, you feel like guys are more angry nowadays, or is it just is it really, are people really angrier, or do we just maybe see it more on TV or in the media, or am I just talking out of my ass?
I would think that I think everyone probably in general is a lot angrier, and I could see it being because of just everything they see on TV. Because I mean, a decent amount of the people that I work with, it's like certain people, once they get together, they just talk about how awful everything is, and they just hate everything, and everybody's stupid in some way, and it's kind of just just lighten up a little bit. It'll help your perspective. It'll help their perspective. Everybody here will enjoy themselves a little bit more. I'm not saying it's going to change the world. I'm but
it'll at least brighten your fucking day up a little bit.
Yeah, but there's just so many times that I could go into work and I see people, they immediately want to start talking about something that's that's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, did you see what these assholes did in Florida?
Yeah.
It's no, dude, I have better things to do with my time.
Yeah.
I don't want to just sit around and talk about all the terrible things that happen every day.
Yeah.
Do you feel like guys in general are angrier nowadays? Guys specifically?
God.
All right, I was reading an article in The Hill recently.
Okay.
And it's a study that just came out. And it was a study by, I don't know who it is. Data from the General. So anyway, so I'm going to quote it, all right? I'm going to read a little something.
Okay.
The number of U.S. adults not having sex has reached a record high, according to a Washington Post analysis of data from the General Social Survey. 23% of respondents, or nearly 1 in 4, reported having no sex in the past year, according to the Post. More than 30% of adults reported having monthly sex, and nearly 40% reported having sex weekly or more. Young men, here's the important part, young men between 18 and 30 years of age saw one of the biggest declines in sexual activity, with 28% saying they had no sex over the last year. The same data from 1989 shows just 14% of the same age range reporting no sex. So what it's basically saying is that guys between the ages of 18 and 30 are getting laid a lot less nowadays. And I feel like there's definitely a correlation there. I mean, in my mind, I feel like guys are getting more and more pissed off nowadays. I don't know whether it's because of media, politics, or whatever, but it also coincides, I think there's a causality there between guys not being able to to talk to women. You know, I feel like there's. You ever heard the term deadly sperm backup?
No.
It's a scientific term. You can look it up in a medical dictionary. It's there. No, but I think it's a real thing that I think generations today, like the younger guys today, aren't as prepared for the way the dynamics between men and women have changed over the years. So I think guys today are not most of us, but a lot of us are a lot more ill-equipped for romantic and sexual relationships. You know, a lot of guys don't know how to talk to women or are more intimidated by women. Mm-hmm. Women have come so far over the last so many decades. It's not, women aren't subservient to men like they used to be back in the days. Like women have just as much opportunity, just as much social clout as men do. Yeah. It's a different world today. Mm-hmm. So a lot of women don't need men. And I think there's a lot of guys who are kind of feeling, left in the dust. It's like, well, what do I have to offer women? And a lot of guys, unfortunately, not much.
I can see that there's a few guys who kind of have that view of what can I give to women? But I can see I feel like I could see a lot of guys kind of going back to the ego and everything, just kind of having that feeling of no, that's not how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be like this. You're supposed to kind of be a big Barbie doll for me. Like you do what I want you to do, and everything's cool. And I can see that just because with that they're, I guess they're striking out in ways.
I think striking out has a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
I think it has a lot to do with it. I mean, rejection's a powerful thing, man. Mm-hmm. That can really fuck with somebody's head. It fucks with your pride, like your ego. That hurts. Yeah. It hurts as a human being, whether you're a man or a woman. And, I mean, just look at the stuff that's been happening over the last 2 decades. Like, think of, Gamergate stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many guys, like gamers. I mean, I don't know if this is just a stereotype. I'm not that avid of a gamer. But there's a lot of guys who are, historically not great with women. And there was this whole scandal about them being so hostile and, terrible towards women.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely coincides with what that article's saying. There's a lot of guys who I think get bitter because there's a small section of guys, like a small group, not a small group, but you know what I mean, like a small percentage of men who are really good at talking to women and really good at getting girls. Mm-hmm. And they kind of I think Jordan Peterson had a thing about this where there's some guys who are so good that they kind of the women don't want anything to do with the guys who are on the lower end of that spectrum. You know what I mean? They all want, these few guys on the higher end. And it's kind of it's like a sexual tyranny, so to speak. I don't know. It's weird. I probably should read a bit more about what his point was. But you know what I'm saying? There's a lot more guys who just don't have the goods to offer a woman, to attract a woman. And who are, maybe they learned how from guys who, who learned in a different era. Yeah. You learn from your dad or your grandpa. Well, they grew up in the 60s and 70s and shit don't fly today. Yeah. Maybe you have a lot of guys who, I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. What do you think? I'm talking out of my ass right now.
Sorry. After a while, not after a while. One of the last things you said just made me think of caveman just hitting women over the head. All right, I got mine. Yeah. I think probably guys just definitely need a lot more confidence and to stop hiding behind I'm gonna try to say this right, anonymity of being behind the computer screen and everything like that.
If you're a troll on the internet, go fuck yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But no, you need to go out there. You need to take that plunge. I am famous for having social anxiety, and I took the plunge, and it's worked out great. And that's all you need is you have to take that risk. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to suck for a while. And then it's going to be awesome. But, it's something that you kind of have to go through.
Yeah, listen, you strike out, you go home, you're sad. Next morning you wake up, you rub one out, and you put the pieces back together.
Yeah, and then you're like, all right, now like let's do this again. All
you're
right.
not dead. You're still alive. You're still in one piece. But I will say this: the way the dynamics have changed between men and women, there's a lot of, in most cases, what do they need us for? Like, if you're trying to pick up a woman today, you better goddamn have something to offer her.
Mm-hmm.
In pretty much all cases, because it's a level playing field for the most part. Women have the same opportunities we have. It's not like men have to be the breadwinners. There's plenty of women making more than men out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you better have your shit together, guys.
Yeah.
That's that to me has always been something. I feel like there's too many guys that just have gotten bitter because they can't get a girl. I mean, it's as simple as that. And I could see how that could happen. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying, like, I could see the steps where it leads to that.
Yeah. Like, I could totally see, like, well, in this movie or this thing or whatever, it's like, I did these certain things. Now where's the prize?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and if I'm not getting it, that means life is unfair, and I don't have to live by the normal rules of life. I get to treat people like shit now because life's treating me like shit. And that's not how it works. It's not that you do certain things and you get it. I mean, I guess in certain instances, maybe like at work, like, you put something together and there it is.
Well, yeah. Think of it this way. To go back to the video games, it's not like you're entering a cheat code into I hit up, down, left, right, up, down, right, left. Now the code should be activated. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Yeah. It's life. You're dealing with human beings. It's not as simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's just not fair. Sometimes you might be someone who has a lot to offer, but just, certain situations, you're maybe at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
You're right place at wrong time, or vice versa. Like, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes you're just unlucky.
Yeah.
And that really sucks. But that could happen to anybody. It's hard, man. Especially just relationships in general. They can be really tricky.
Yeah. They take work.
Yeah.
And that's, sometimes, and this is for, I guess, both sexes, it's something that I feel a lot of people need to learn, where it's not just a simple, like, all right, in a relationship, boom, like life is complete. Yeah. There's going to be times that you're really going to have to work through shit, or... I mean, other times, most of the time, it's fucking fantastic. It's awesome. But then you're going to have those moments where you're going to have to figure things out. Sometimes it works. Other times it doesn't work. That's kind of how it goes. So,
yeah,
roll with the punches.
You know what I think also? I think in this day and age, it's not like... Like, think of back like in the 60s, like the free love era, where everybody was just cool. It was like, yeah, just sleep with that person. It's all love, bro. It's nothing to worry about. Everybody's cool. It's not like that now, but it's more of just like the advent of online dating and like the Tinder era.
Yeah.
Where it's like you have nothing but all these other options, and it's harder for people to commit because they're constantly, look, I have nothing but options. I think that does a lot. Because, there's no... I feel like, to a certain extent, society doesn't really... It's not enforced... Not enforced, but, it's not like a norm, like the idea of monogamy. Like, you can be 40 years old and single, and it's not as weird as it was in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think for a lot of people, they're a lot less willing to get into relationships or settle down. And it makes it harder for people that are actually trying to do that. I feel like maybe the pickings are a little slimmer. You know what I mean? I feel like people maybe are a lot more reluctant to get married, or they wait longer, have kids much later. Like, I mean, our parents' generation, they were married and had 3 kids by the time they were 25.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like that anymore.
No.
So I think as a lot of people, they get older and they haven't settled down, they haven't met the right person, it gets a little scary. You feel like, am I ever going to find someone? And it's easy to get bitter or depressed or feel hopeless, like it's never going to happen. And you could become resentful sometimes. Yeah. Like, I think there's definitely, men that resent women and women that resent men for those exact reasons.
Yeah.
So that's something I think about. Like, is that Is it really the case that like the social fabric is coming apart? Is that, or is it just this is just a change we're going through as a society? Because this is certainly a time when everything is changing. You know, is it something that's going to work itself out, or is it something that's a fundamental, like an existential crisis?
Yeah, I personally don't know. I've been in the same relationship for quite some time now, but I mean, I always kind of just think about when I was still single. I kind of think that I still have the mental mindset that God, what the hell was I gonna say? That well, nope, totally fucking lost it. Yep.
No, that's all right.
My brain just went kaput.
You were saying you were in a relationship for a long time now, so.
So yeah, I feel like the whole dating world now, the whole single life thing now, I probably don't get it.
Yeah, I think so too. Me too.
So I'm nervous that I could get things totally wrong for like anyone who's listening.
Yeah, we could just be old guys talking out of our ass right now.
Yeah, and the whole young crowd is just like, wow, they really don't get it, do they?
Yeah.
But
I worry about that.
I feel that well, no, god damn it, I thought I was gonna have it there, but I lost it again.
Sorry, man. Don't worry about it. We'll just keep moving on.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? I worry about that, like being like, oh, am I just an old man? Am I just a guy like yelling out the window, turn that music down? You know?
Oh, I am. I love it.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I know to a certain extent, like, I'm going to look at the generation of today and be like, I just don't get it. But at the same time, I don't want to be the guy that's so closed-minded that I never possibly could get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to, because if you think about it, like, think of like old, like Guns N' Roses to us.
Mm-hmm.
Guns N' Roses, classic rock, classic songs. But when that shit came out, like, if you were 18 years old when, you know, what's Appetite for Destruction came out?
Yeah.
If you were blasting that in your car and your father heard that, he would look at you like, what the fuck is this devil music that you're listening to? And we look at it now, like, that's not really that heavy. Like, you know, we come from the the days of, like, was it, what's that band? Cowboy for Hire or Cowboy for a Day? Some, like, grindcore band. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, music today is so much heavier.
Yeah.
So we look back at that stuff, and it's like, it's not that heavy. But at the time, it was the heaviest thing ever invented.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at things that the youth is doing today, I say, is that just me being old school, or is there really something wrong with it? And I tend to lean towards, I'm just from a different generation.
Yeah, I think it's just that's the stuff that you grew up with, so, like, that's the stuff that you like. But what's funny was actually what you said about the whole, like, oh, it's not, like, as crazy as as we thought it was, like, back when it first came out. I remember, like, years ago, I think I listened to, like, Marilyn Manson, like, Antichrist Superstar for, like, the first time. I was like, man, I really love this album. Like, I need to listen to it again. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, it's good, but it just doesn't have that same, like, sound that it did back then. Like back then, it was, like, intense. I was like, I'm listening to it now, and I was like, no, it's got the heavy sound. I'm like, but it's good. I mean, I'm going to turn it off now and listen to something else, but, like, it's still good. When
that shit first came out, like, I would listen to, like, Beautiful People, and, like, I feel like I'm going to get, like, a nosebleed just from listening to it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, that's it?
Yeah, exactly. It's so weird to me because, I would think to myself, I was like, God, I remember, like, breaking shit to this music. Like, I would throw things everywhere. I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to light some stuff on fire and listen to Marilyn Manson. And now it's just like, oh, yeah.
That's such a white thing that we do.
It's a good tune.
In metal. Like, the instinct to break stuff.
Yeah. Oh.
The whitest of whites.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's, I kind of look at everything like that. Like, now we're just from a different generation.
Yeah.
Because, like, one of my favorite movies, A Bronx Tale.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, Calogero gets on the bus, and his dad has, like, the jazz music on. He's like, I can't believe we're listening to this. Like, his dad, this is real music. You know, and we look at that like, okay, like, that's super old stuff. I mean, I love jazz, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a generational divide.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I think about. Anyway, what do you say we put a pin in it?
Sure. Yeah.
We're already over an hour.
Oh, nice.
Flew by, right?
It really did.
I feel like, did I like fuck up on the recording? Did I skip over something?
I think it was that part where I just kind of like paused for probably a good solid 10 minutes. That may have done it.
Oh, I must have fallen asleep during that part. Well, Rory, thank you for coming, man.
Thank you, Steve.
It was a good conversation.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I like it.
I'll try to come back next time more prepared.
Nah, that's fine, man. We're just hanging out. Listen, you know, if this episode sucks, don't worry. Not many people are going to hear it.
I already know I'm not going to hear it, so.
Nah, trust me, it'll be good. This is a good one. I wanted to have one, too, where I could kind of restate, like, what the goal is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of do that on every episode, but I want to be clear. Like, I'm not promoting being an asshole. Like, that's not part of being a man.
Yeah.
Like, be a good dude.
Yeah.
Like, just when all else fails, just try to be like Captain America. That's what I say.
It's
pretty easy.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty beautiful way to say it.
Yeah, nobody's going to accuse Captain America of being like a wimp.
Yeah.
Like, he's a tough motherfucker, but he's a good, solid guy.
Yes.
That's it. Be Captain America.
Be Captain America.
If you take anything from this episode, just know our advice. If you want to be a good man, you want to know how to be a good dude, just watch Captain America and do that.
Yeah.
Minus the, like, jumping through cars and, you know, destroying an entire office building, chasing after your friend who kind of doesn't remember you.
Yeah. And don't throw a shield and expect it to come back. I've tried it. I'm really bad at it. I mean, who knows? Maybe for you, things will change, but it usually does not work out.
Well, some people just need practical advice.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. As always, you know how to find us on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook. You know, download this episode. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. Subscribe, rate, let us know what you think. Email us.
Yeah.
At APodAmongstMen@gmail.com. Any questions? By all means, we want to talk about stuff on the air. If you were, we do like a Dear Abby type thing where you write in like, Dear Apod Amongst Men.
Ooh.
Like, I was having an issue with my girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like something like that. I would love to do that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean, granted, we're just regular douchebags here, so
yeah,
you might as well just ask your friend. But it's more fun this way.
Yeah.
And then we can give you a shout out.
Yeah.
That's it.
Go put your name on the internet. Go viral. Have a great time.
Yeah. Oh, we only use first names and last initials.
Yeah.
So you are Rory P.
Which I'm sure really narrows it down.
Well, I mean, if you're from this area, if you know me, we know you.
Yeah.
But, all right. We'll see you guys next week. Rory, thanks again for coming.
Thank you very much.
All right, everyone. Peace.
Take care.